as many of you know, stand-up coasters are being converted into floorless coasters every year. Stand-up coasters are slowly becoming a thing of the past. But there is one weird scenario that I will be discussing today. What will happen to Green Lantern at Six Flags Great Adventure and Safari in Jackson, New Jersey? This coaster is located at my home park, and it actually has a pretty good layout. And it's very smooth for a stand-up coaster, but it is still a stand-up coaster, which means it still sucks. But they can't convert this into a floorless because they already have Bizarro. So what will happen with this coaster? I think that they will be relocating Green Lantern to Six Flags Darien Lake and giving it floorless trains there, because they could really use a good looper like this. So that's what I personally think is going to happen, but the other scenario is they either scrap or send Bizarro somewhere else and convert Green Lantern into a floorless. But I really don't think this is going to happen. But Green Lantern being scrapped, that is also a possibility. It's been around for a long time. It started its life at Six Flags Kentucky Kingdom and then was moved over to Great Adventure in 2012. So it's very possible that this coaster could get scrapped and this is the end of its life. And it's very possible for them to relocate it. I think it would probably be more possible and make the most sense to relocate this coaster just because it's in pretty good shape. But what could replace Green Lantern? Would it be a GCI? Could it be an RMC? What could replace this one-of-a-kind, or not one-of-a-kind, what could replace this amazing attraction in the time? I'm going to be discussing all the rides that could possibly replace Green Lantern. So, first off, let's start by thinking of gaps in Great Adventure's lineup. First thing that comes to mind is a wooden coaster. And when I say wooden coaster, I know they already have El Toro, which is probably the world's best wooden coaster right now. And it's a very intense ride, mainly focused on airtime. They could use something like a GCI with a twister layout, something cool like that with a few airtime moments. Or an RMC Woody, like Goliath or Zadger, something similar to that. So I'm going to be discussing their options. First, let's start with something like Goliath. Goliath, as you can see, would easily fit into the Green Lantern plot of land, and they'd have some good space to work with, too. So they could definitely fit Goliath in that spot. But could this actually happen? I think that this is actually likely. I don't think it's going to be a clone. I think it's going to be Goliath at Six Flags Great America. If they RMC Wild Eagle, Goliath would almost become obsolete, and it would make sense to give to another park. Of course, they might not give it to Great Adventure. They could give it to many other parks in the chain. So, I could see them getting Goliath or some other type of RMC. Maybe something even more similar to Outlaw Run, except with the terrain coaster part of it. So now let's take a look at some GCI options. Thunderhead at Dollywood is a great GCI with a good twister layout with a few good airtime moments. So let's take a look at that and see how it could fit in the Green Lantern plot of land. So as you can see, it fits pretty well. It could definitely fit. Maybe use up a little bit of the parking lot, but it would still fit, and it would be a good fit for the park in general. And now let's take a look at a different GCI. Let's look at Apocalypse. This is at Six Flags Magic Mountain, and this would also fit. It has more of a rectangular layout, while Thunderhead has more of a L-shaped layout. Both of these would easily fit in the Green Lantern plot of land because it's a huge area, and they haven't even developed some of the area. It's just open space. So a lot of these rides could fit. So all the Woodies would fit, and I could definitely see them going with one of these. But what's another lineup in their gap? A launch coaster other than Kingda Ka. Kingda Ka is a very intense launch coaster. It is mainly focused on the launch. And they could definitely use something that's not so focused on the launch like Kingda Kai's. For this, I'm thinking Premier Rides. I'm not thinking something like, I'm not thinking like Max Force SNS, because that mainly focuses on the launch. I'm thinking about like a Premier Rides coaster similar to West Coast Racers. That would just be fantastic for the park. Let's see how it fits into the Green Lantern plot of land. So, as you can see, it does fit in the Green Lantern plot of land, but it will take up a little bit of the parking lot. Not too much, just a little. But it could still fit. They could also go with a custom layout, which would be different, which I could definitely see them going with, and that would also easily fit. But I really think that they would build the Premier coaster over by the new DC area that they've been working on. Also, if I didn't mention before, I could also see a Zadra type ride come here. That would be awesome because that's more inversions and Twister. It's not exactly a wooden coaster, but I could definitely see that come here. And it would also fit in this plot of land. But other than that, let's think of other launch coasters. First thing that comes to mind is a B&M surf coaster. We don't really know that much about this coaster. We know that it's a launch coaster, and we know that SeaWorld was supposed to be getting one. Could Great Adventure also be getting a surf coaster in the near future? There is a possibility. Great Adventure has the most B&Ms in the world, and they might want to keep that record. They currently have 5, but if they take Green Lantern out, they'd only have 4, and I think they'd be tied for the record. So I think they might actually want to keep that record and get a B&M surf coaster. I'm not exactly sure when this model would even be ready. I'm not exactly sure what it would look like. I'm not sure how big the plot of land would have to be. I'm not sure if it could even fit. This is all just speculation. Like, we literally don't know anything about these B&M surf coasters, except they're launched, and that's about it. So, I could see Great Adventure actually getting this. So another thing that comes to mind is a coaster that goes beyond vertical. This is more like a Gerstlauer Eurofighter or an Infinity. The only thing that hesitates me here is that American Dream, about an hour away, has a Gerstlauer Eurofighter, the Takabisa clone, it's Shellraiser. And it's a really good ride, so they'd have to contest with that. But I could see them getting an Infinity, maybe even a launched Infinity, like something like Karnan. I don't see him going like Karnan, but I could see him going maybe with a launched Infinity. That would be absolutely insane if they had a launched Infinity. It would obviously fit because it's a very compact ride, these Infinity coasters. It could even have a lift-o section where it goes beyond vertical too. So I think this would also be a very good fit for the park. So let's think of another option. Let's think of another B&M. How about a wing coaster? Multi-inversion, maybe second launch wing coaster in the world. That would be awesome. Something like Thunderbird. Thunderbird wouldn't fit on the Green Lantern plot of land because it's so spread out. But if you make it compact, it would easily fit. And B&M can do a custom layout. And I think it would be really cool to see a B&M wing coaster. Not only a B&M wing, but a launch B&M wing. I think that would be really awesome for Great Adventure in the near future. Let's think of one more option, and then I'm going to end out this video. So for the last option that I think that they could go with, I think that they could possibly go with a Mack launch coaster. Similar to Copperhead Strike, something very similar to that. But they haven't really worked with Mack in a long time, so I'm not sure if this would happen. Neither have they worked with GCI in a long time, so I'm not sure if that would happen. So I'm not putting my money on this one. My best bet is that they'd either get a Premier or an RMC. They've been working with these companies a lot lately, so I could definitely see them working with these. The Copperhead Strike would fit in this plot of land, but I just don't see him going with it. as much as I'd love to see something like Zadler come to this park, I don't think they're going to invest that much money. They might see something very smaller come. I could still see ground up Woody from RMC coming, but it would be a lot smaller. I know Zadler isn't ground up Woody, but it's still ground up RMC coaster, and I could see Great Adventure going with a ground up RMC. So I think that's going to round out this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.